Perhaps without any further ado, I will share my screen and show you my file. I hope that you all have a copy of the readings for today in some format, either in the textbook or perhaps in the John Kelly translation key, or in my file, which I've sent out, I think, to many of you. So we are actually going to start, I guess, with the precepts, which is a little weird, perhaps. So let's see. Diane, you come up first in my strip. How are you this morning?
I guess I'm unlucky this morning.
Wow, you get to take your first precept first. Can you
Okay.
please read and translate the first one?
Okay. Panatipata Vedamani Sikapadam Samadhyami. So that if I go to the verb first, which is samadhyami, is I undertake.
Mm-hmm.
And sikapadam is a compound word, right? Sika and pada. And sika is training, and pada is like a part or an aspect. So it's a set of training parts, a set of precepts. So I undertake I can say the training rules. Vedamani is abstinence or abstaining from. And panatipata is also compounded with pana, which means life or breath, and atipata, which means destruction or attack. So I undertake the training rules, abstaining from killing.
Right. Can you give me a little more information about this? So, first of all, what case is panatipata?
That's ablative.
Right. And what case and gender is veramani?
Abstaining from. I don't think of it as having a case. You know, I have trouble with this, Stephen, and you
It's
call on me first.
Well, it's the first question on the list. I thought maybe you would start your preparation at the beginning.
The first question on the list.
Well, veramani is a female noun ending in long I. It is nominative.
Ah,
Let's move on. Sika, we know, is training. It's related to the verb we probably most know, sikati, to train. Pada, I think in a literal sense, it's related to the word in English, foot. And we can also translate it as probably a step. So a step, a training step. So pada can mean a foot. Could mean a step. It also could have the sense of a word, the meaning word. And we have that in the Dhammapada, which is translated, I believe, by K.R. Norman as the word of the doctrine. But that's not here what it means. I think it would mean a step, training step, or a training undertaking, or a training rule, or a precept, of course. What case and gender, Diane, for Sika Padang?
well, of course, I always guess neuter and accusative.
Yes, we could see the neuterness from the title here, Sika Padani. We know that the ani suffix is always assigned to neuter nouns. And of course, it is the object of samadhyami. And so, tell me some information about the verb samadhyami.
Samadhyati, perhaps?
Samadhyati is the verb, and how would we break that up? What is samadhyati?
Samadhyati. I didn't do that, Stephen.
Oh, well, sam is a prefix, as we know, which has the sense of fullness, and it sometimes an intensifier. And then we
Ah,
have the verb a deity.
from dadati.
That's right. So we have
So
that
it's,
very common root da, right, to give.
yeah.
And in dadati, that is simply just doubled. Dadati. So I think the fancy term for that is reduplication. So dadati is to give, and then what would be the opposite of to give? Would be to take, would be adadati, but this is a more of a passive base or stem, deity. So,
Dear.
I take up, I fully take up, or I undertake would be the verb. So tell me, Diane, give me a translation of she undertakes the training rule to abstain from the destruction of life.
So would that be a deity? Some
Yes,
deity?
right. Samadhyati would
T.
be the third person singular. Good. So notice the grammar of it is different from how we have to translate it in English. Right? We say, I undertake the training rule for the abstinence or of the abstinence, as we translate it in sort of an indirect case. But here, literally, it says, I undertake the training rule abstinence from taking life. So this is sort of a group, abstinence from destroying life. Pana plus atipata. I think this combination of pana plus atipata is kind of unique to this word. Okay, good. Thank you, Diane.
Question.
Yes, please.
Vedamani, you said was feminine nominative.
I think so.
So why do I always think nominative means it has to be a noun? So abstention is a noun and a subject. Is it a subject? I thought I was the subject, as in I undertake.
Well, it's it can't be nominative because that would be verimaning, I think.
Veramaning.
I'm looking quickly at my table on page 6 where we have the
It's also
long I.
accusative. I, plural.
Yeah, but it's not plural, right? It's a singular.
Mm, mm.
It seems to me that it would be nominative. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
So maybe we could have Tet do for us number 2. Read and translate.
Okay. Adina dana veramani sikkhapadam samadhyami. So samadhyami, I undertake. Sikkhapadam, the step of training, the rule of training. Veramani is like restrained, to restrain from, the noun. Adina dana is like, adina is what is not given, and adana is to take. So adana dana is to take what is not given. Altogether, I undertake the training rule of like abstaining from taking what is not given.
Yes, good. So we have here once again this verb dadati based on the root da to give, but it's reversed, so it's adadati. We have it formed as a past participle adina, and it's connected with adana. So taking what is not given, and so this adana is a noun. It means taking up. It's the very thing we see in the word upadana, which means something like clinging or taking up. So adana, taking up, adina, what is not given. Very good. Okay, now Linda, can you please read and translate for us number 3?
Yes, I'll try. Kame sumichachara veramani sikkhapadang samadhyami.
Yeah.
So it means sikkhapadang is undertake the training. Kame is karma. The I believe is the sensual desire.
Right. What case is that?
Kamesu.
What case is kamesu?
Could it be accusative?
No, you shouldn't have to guess. It's certainly one thing.
I undertake the.
Tet, can you help us? What
Oh,
case is
sorry.
and number is that?
Sure. I think it is locative.
Yes, it's locative plural.
Locative plural. Yes.
Right. Locative plural.
So have a look. Refresh your memory with your case endings.
I don't. I'm so sorry, Stephen. I don't recall everything. I'm trying.
That's okay.
Go back.
So it's
Then
it's the misconduct. So michachara. This is charity in the noun form. The doing. The bad micha is like the bad doing or
Right.
misconduct, of course, in regard to sensual pleasures. So we could translate this type of locative as maybe in regard to or concerning or about.
Okay.
Okay?
Right. Thank you. Yes.
Good. All right. I hope I didn't skip somebody. I see somebody whose name is, I can't barely see. Kan Hui? Are you there? Can you do for us number 4? Then maybe we'll move on to Fiakra for our 4th training rule.
Hi, how are you doing? Great.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks. Great to be here. So, Musavada Veramani Sikapadang Samadhyami. So, restraining from falsehood, I undertake the training precept of restraining from falsehood.
Right. Can you give me a little more information about Musavada?
Okay, so Musavada, it's a so according to this, it just means speaking falsely, and it's in the ablative, and so it would be Musavado, and then it's with the ablative, it's from falsehood. Yeah.
Right. So I think we'll see maybe later on in this chapter we have these 2 roots that are about speaking, vach and vud. One of them is sort of considered sort of, quote, defective, which is not a word I like too much, but essentially what that means is that it doesn't exist in many instances or many types of grammar. Mm-hmm. But so, yes, as you say,
sure.
Abstinence from false or wrong speech.
Wrong speech.
False. Yeah. Lying, essentially, I think.
Mm-hmm. So it's a compound, so Musa, it presumably means false, does it? Is that right?
I would say so.
Great.
Okay, good. And now we can have Jim translate the 5th one for us.
Morning, Stephen.
Good morning.
So, Sura Mary Mira Yamacha Pamadatana Viramani Sikapadam Samadhyami.
Yeah, that's a really huge compound. Sura Merya Madhya Pamadatana.
So for Sura Marayamaja, I translate that as rum and spirits.
Oh, okay. I think
And
I was told, I'm not, sorry to interrupt you, I am not exactly sure, and this is maybe a slightly esoteric point, but Sura would be maybe alcohol created from grain. Maybe that would be like beer. And then Maria would be a fruit-based alcohol. And then Mudja seems to be more of a kind of catch-all term. And I think just simply the sense of it would be to make sure that there are no loopholes here. We're talking about all types of alcoholic beverages. But please go on.
okay, so alcoholic beverages, and pamadatana is to take pleasure in it. So
How would you translate pamada? And how would you break up that piece of the compound, pamada tana?
I wasn't I pomada I had as the first half and tan is the second. I wasn't sure where one of the T's went.
Right. So the first half, as you say, is pomada. We know that word perhaps more in the negative form, which is the positive form, appamada, heedfulness. Pamada means heedlessness, right?
Right.
And Tana, I think this is in our book, the grammatical point number 15, has the sense of the state of. And I believe that retroflex T is doubled because it's coming after a vowel. So it's Pamada plus Tana, and the T seems to be doubled because of the Pamada. But make sure you place the stress of this word on that long A, the first long A, because the stronger vowel will take the accent, Pamadatana.
Pamadatana.
So it would be something like the state of heedlessness.
All right. So if I go to the last word, samadhyami, to translate, it would be I undertake the training step or training rule to abstain from, well, I translated it as taking pleasure in rum and spirits, but to use more the way you were translating it, to abstain from the heedless state of desire for alcohol.
I would say that it seems to me, and maybe if anyone has a different idea, they are welcome to chime in, but it seems to me what this is asking us or telling us is that consumption of these drinks cause heedlessness, right? And so because of that, because we want heedlessness, we want appamada, we don't want pamada. Because these drinks cause the state of heedlessness, we abstain from them. And so maybe we could translate that as I undertake the training rule to abstain from alcoholic drinks causing heedlessness. That's sort of awkward sounding, but that seems to be the sense of it to me.
But can we also?
So in, sorry, so in a lot of translations, when you see the word intoxication, that's what they're doing with pamadatana.
Intoxication would be pamadatana, the state of heedlessness. Intoxication is a good way, I think, probably of translating that. Right. Yes.
Can we turn a little bit the order of words in translation and say that I undertake the precepts of abstaining from the carelessness caused by alcoholic beverages?
Sure. Yes.
So not particularly alcoholic beverages, but carelessness caused by abstaining from carelessness caused by alcoholic.
Right. Yes. I mean, I think the point of abstaining from the alcohol is because they cause this carelessness. Right.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So people usually translate it as I abstain from alcoholic beverages, but no, I'm abstaining from carelessness caused by alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, why do we abstain from alcohol? We abstain from alcohol because they make us careless.
Sure.
Exactly right. I think so. Good. Thank you. Any questions on these 5 grammatically? Are there any points that seem obscure to anybody? Okay, well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm trying to view my participants. Okay. I'm sorry, was the person just speaking Oxford Buddha Vihara, Serbia?
Yeah, sorry, I need to change my name. My name is Branko.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm sorry for my confusion. Okay, Branko.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining our class, by the way.
Thank you for accepting me.
It's my pleasure to have everybody. So, Branko, would you mind then? We can now move to our second reading, which is from Anguttara Nikaya, Book of Fives, Pancha Kanipata. This is from the Sumana Vagga and the Sumana Sutta. So, do you see that where we are?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, can you read maybe the first sentence? You don't have to read from my screen because I have a lot of notes here, so please don't feel like you have to do that.
Okay, Yatapi Chando Vimalo Gachan Akasadhatuya. That's it? Or
You can
just
do
the
the
first?
whole. You can do the whole sentence.
Sabe taragane loke abhaya atirochati.
Right. So this
So-
is. So hang on. This is just wanted to say that this is verse, not prose. So yatapi chando vimalo gachang akasa dhatuya sabe taragane loke abhaya atirochati. Just so we understand that, the point of this is to be in a verse. We don't have to say it in verse, but sometimes also I find that understanding the meter will help us understand the pronunciation, because we have to then put the stresses in the correct place to fit the meter. But please, so explain to us what this means.
So I translated like as a bright moon going through the space outshines by its luster all host of stars in this world.
Very
And
good.
then in the second part.
Yes. So let's look a little bit more in detail at the structure and grammar. So
Yes.
yata is just as.
Just as MP is emphatic
Right.
particle, then chando is moon.
What case is that in?
It's nominative because it's subject.
Exactly.
The
And
sentence.
tell me about vimalo. What is vimalo?
Vimalo is adjective and it's a compound. Mallo or mala is a stain, and vimalo is stainless or without stain.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And what is gachang?
Gacham should be present participle.
Yes.
So
Which
going.
case?
Third case, singular, because it's related to the moon.
It's nominative. It's what's called the.
Okay.
It's what might be called the short version or the short form of the nominative present participle. So we have gachati is of course the present indicative. The longer version would be, as you know, gachanto.
Yeah.
But this is shortened, a very common form, probably chosen here for the meter. So going, and then tell me about akasa dhatuya.
Akasa dhatuya, akasa, that's space.
Or sky.
Like Sanskrit akasha.
Exactly.
And then dhatu is element.
Yes.
And dhatuya, as you marked, it's a number 6 in the grammar. It's feminine use stems, and it's singular, genitive, dative, instrumental, ablative, and locative. So here it's locative.
Yeah.
So through the space.
I was wondering, you could be right. I had a feeling that it was in fact instrumental.
I don't know.
And I looked up this in maybe the book that you are maybe familiar with, which is the Vijayasekara book about the cases. And I've
Yes.
made a note here at the bottom. I hope you can see. This is called instrumental of means. And it says this can be used to express the passage by which a moving takes place, or by way or which it goes. So we have this example, dakinena dvarena nikamitva. So nikamitva would be that absolutive, having left dvarena dakinena, by means of the south gate. Or uttarena dvarena nagarang pavisitva. So pavisitva, of course, is absolutive. Having entered nagarang, the city, uttarena dvarena, by means of the north gate. Or vata panena rasmi pavisitva. So having entered, rays, which would be the subject, rasmi, having entered vata panena, through the window. And that would be a use of instrumental. But it could be locative. So we don't have to argue, but it seems to me a little bit not exactly clear. Because, as you know, as you said, the feminine indirect cases all share the same case ending.
Yes. Yes.
So we don't exactly know. But so maybe we can just say we don't exactly know. It could be instrumental. It could be locative. Because I kind of like the sense of across the sky. Going
I don't know
across.
how it is in English, but in Serbian, in my native language, it's locative, because it's a place where the moon is moving on. So
Okay.
through it, or I don't know.
Maybe.
To me, I would translate it as locative.
Okay. Tell me about atirochati. How would we break up that verb?
Atirochati. Rochati is shining. And
Exactly.
ati is a prefix which goes over, or has meaning over.
Exactly.
So, or outshine, or that's
very
why.
good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, ati is a sort of intensifier, so it shines more than anything else.
Yeah.
And tell me, abaya.
Abaya is also splendor, luster, or
or light.
the brightness, or I don't know.
And
So
what case?
by its abaya, probably instrument. That would be instrumental, by which it outshines.
Right. And loke, which case?
Loke is locative.
Yes.
In the world, and sabe tara gane, tara are stars, and gana is a group, or family, or usually, and then Taragana is a cluster of stars, or galaxies, or I don't know how we want to translate it, or we can just translate stars and all stars.
Right.
Sabbe Taragane, all stars, outshines by his luster or brightness.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we can move on to the second. We have Uga. Are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here, but I'm following your lectures at YouTube, but I'm not yet at the level of, I think, translating. Just one Kalaimita enjoyed me for this. So if you don't mind, today I will be more like a listener.
Okay. Let's try Huilin. Can you then take us through the next verse?
I'm sorry, earlier you called me by Kan Hui. I wasn't used to that. Kan is my family name. It's the way it's displayed. Yes, let me go through what I have here.
We're up to Yatapi Mego Tanayang.
Yeah.
First, just read it for us.
Tattava. Can you hear me?
Yes. Start from Yata. We're at Yatapi Mego Tanayang.
No,
Okay.
Excuse me,
we
Stephen,
Oh.
have you skipped?
Oh
Tateva.
no, I've skipped. You're right. I apologize. It's all my fault. You're right.
Okay, can
Please
I?
go. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Tateva.
Tattva, Tata, Sila Sampano, Sado Parisa Pugalo, Sabe Macharino, Loke, Chagena Atirochati.
Yeah. So the first word would be tateva.
Did I get that right?
Tateva
That's
sila
another, I
sampano.
put it here. Yeah, it's in the same way, or thus, likewise. Yeah. Sila Sampano, it's an adjective, observing the moral precepts. It's a past participle here used under masculine nominative. It's observed. It's linked with faithful, the masculine nominative singular. Parisa Pugalo is masculine nominative singular for individual person.
Okay.
Sabbe, it's all or everybody or everyone. That's masculine nominative plural, adjective used as a pronoun. And I have
I wouldn't say it's nominative. Take it with
Macharino
macharino.
as, oh, sorry, yes.
Take it together with
Okay.
macharino. What case is macharino?
Which is, it's masculine with an I, so it becomes, I think it's plural.
Yeah.
Dative or genitive.
I would take it as accusative plural.
Miserly people, I don't know.
Yeah, I would take it as accusative
Sorry, okay.
plural. Go on.
All right. Point noted. All right. Okay. And loke is masculine locative singular in the world. Tragainer is masculine instrumentive singular, traga from the word traga, with generosity. And atirochati is outshines or excel. That's a verb, present particle active, third person singular.
Yeah.
So I put it in a sentence, in the same way, a faithful individual person who observed the moral precepts outshines all I think I call it misers in the world with generosity.
Okay, good. So
Sorry.
notice how, as you've said, ati rochati, the verb, outshines. And what does this person outshine? Sabbe macharino. So that would be sort of like the object of this verb. So that's why I would take it all miserly ones.
Outshines all miserly ones.
And
Okay.
then how
Thank you.
it chagena, which would be with generosity, as you said. So yeah, so we might take tateva, which is tata. So notice, of course, that the yata is completed by the tata here. I just put it in brackets just so we understand that. Yeah, so too, perhaps, or in the same way.
Yes.
And they have the sila sampano. So sampano, a common word, is
sampajati.
Sampajati. So it has often the sense of accomplished. But also it can have the sense of possessing. So, but we could translate this as maybe accomplished in one's sila, one's morality. And this person is also, of course, the person is purisa pugalo, this person, and it's also in the nominative sado, which is with, we have to maybe translate it, we could translate it with faith, but notice it's just another nominative adjective with sila sampanno. And as we said, we have the second half I think we went through. Okay, do you have a question? Any questions on this? Or does anyone have any questions or comments on this first verse? Please just feel free to speak up. No. Okay. Great. Then maybe we could now we can go to the Mego. Maybe we have Young. Are you there? Can you read and translate the first line of it?
The next one. Tapi
Oh, I could barely hear you. Can you get a little closer to your microphone?
Okay.
I can't hear you, I'm afraid.
Can you hear now?
Just at the bare threshold. No, I'm not hearing anything. Maybe I'll let you kind of adjust your microphone and we'll come back. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. Maybe we'll try Sarah. Sarah Han. Good morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Can you please read and translate this second verse for us?
Sure. Yatapi mego tanayang vijumali satakaku talang ninang chapureti abhivasam vasundaram.
Yeah. Yatapi me gotanayang viju mali satakaku talang ninan chapureti abhivasang vasundarang.
That sounds much more stately when you say that.
So I just said it not to show off, of course, but just to show that if, when we use the meter, we can understand where to place our accents.
Yeah, it adds that dignity to that. The beauty of this verse.
Yes, it's very beautiful. And
Yeah.
I wanted to, before we even start, I wanted to point out I was not satisfied with the Pali English Dictionary of Tanayang. And so I went to the newer Dictionary of Pali. Let's see if I can call that up. And I just took a picture of it. I hope you can see. Because this is the verb tanati, but it's taneti, tanayati. It exists in all three of these bases. And in the present participle, which is here, I'm sort of pointing at it, part pres, we have number B, letter B, tanaya. And so this is a present participle with that base. You probably knew that, but it wasn't so clear to me immediately. And in fact, you can see here at this line B, Mego Tanayang Viju Mali is a reference to our very verse that we're doing right now. So this is from Margaret Cohn's newer Dictionary of Pali. But I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's go back. Okay, Sarah, take over, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I did put that as a present participle, nominative singular. So, but going back to just as, yatapi, the rain cloud, mega, tanayang is, I put it as thundering.
Mm-hmm.
So it's present participle, nominative singular. And then vijumali, the compound is viju, which is a feminine, lightning, plus mali, which is like a garland.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing kind of like a garland or a row of lightning.
Yeah, so wreathed in lightning.
Yeah. I'll tell you how I translated it when I'm done breaking down the words. And then Sata kaku, we've got 100 for sata plus kaku, which is a corner.
Mm-hmm.
That's kaku is a masculine U ending nominative singular, and it's, I think to me it evokes a cumulus cloud, just like a big thunder cloud.
Yes.
So 100 cornered cloud basically. And then this pureti, it fills. It fills talang and ninang, which is, talang is plateau, that's accusative singular, and ninang is lowland. So it fills the lowland and the plateau.
What case is ninang?
Ninang is accusative.
Right, and it just changed to that palatal type of nasal because of the sandhi with the cha.
Okay. Yeah, and they're both neuter as far as I can tell. And then the abhivasang is the present participle from abhivasati, so it rains down on, and that's in the nominative singular form. And then the vasundaram is the earth. That's a feminine noun. It's an accusative singular.
Yes,
So
it's a very
putting it,
poetic word for earth. Have you broken it down, what vasu darang could mean?
I'm afraid I did not. Can
Well,
you tell?
vasu usually means something like wealth, and dara from darati is the bearer or giver. So the bearer of wealth.
So the 6 inches of topsoil that we live, that is our sole means of survival, right?
That's right. This
Yes.
precious earth is
Yes.
the vasudara.
So I put it all together as just as a rain cloud thundering, a cumulus cloud garlanded with lightning fills now the lowland plateau, raining down on the earth.
Beautiful. Very nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. And then we have this fourth one. We have Sui B. Are you there? Can you join us for the last verse? Or maybe we can have Lisa Liang.
Yep.
Hi.
Evam dasana sampano sama sambuddha savako macharing ariganhati panchatanehi pandito. So evam thus in dasana sampano is endowed with. So I have a person endowed with dasana, that's a vision or
Right.
insight. And then sama sambuddhasa, sama sambuddha, and then savako. Savako is like a disciple of the completely, perfectly awakened one. And then matcharin is like a greedy person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to move to the verb panchatanehi.
I wouldn't call that a verb.
Oh, sorry, I skipped. Adiganhati.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the verb?
Yes.
And that means surpasses.
Yes.
Surpasses.
So what case would then macharin be?
Macharin.
It's the object of the verb.
Yes, it's the accusative case.
Exactly.
And that means a greedy person.
Yes. So surpasses the greedy person or the miser. And then tell us about the last 2 words.
Yes. So panchatanehi, that looks like an instrumental case there.
Mm-hmm.
And pancha is 5, and tanehi is this word I was struggling with, but I have the by means of 5 states.
Yeah, or with 5 states, or in 5 aspects, or in 5 respects.
Okay.
And so how do you, and then pandito is in what case?
Yeah, that's I believe it's the nominative singular here, pandito. So a wise man.
Right. So let's hear your sort of full English translation.
Yeah, so I have thus a person endowed with vision, a disciple of the completely, perfectly awakened one. A wise man surpasses a greedy person with or by means of 5 states.
Right. Good. So we could take exactly right. So we could take dasa sampano, sama sambuddha savako, and pandito. Of course, this is all referring to one person, a person, this one person. So it's even possible, this is not saying wrong or right, but it would even be possible to take Pandito first. So thus the wise one, endowed with vision, the disciple of the perfectly enlightened one, surpasses the miser with these 5 things, or in these 5 ways, or in these 5 respects. Good. Thank you. Okay, let's try another person. Or maybe let's have somebody raise their hand if they'd like to do the last of the verses. Please feel free to use your blue hand. Well, okay, nobody has raised their hand. I will call on someone. Catherine from Kuala Lumpur.
Yes, can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes, I can. Can you please read and translate the next verse?
Okay. Ayuna Yasafa Cheva Vanena Cha Sukena Cha Save Buga Pari Byoho Pecha Sage Hamodati.
Mm-hmm.
Ayu is longevity.
Or life. Yeah.
Okay, instrumental.
Yes.
Yasasa is fame, which is neuter. Vanina is health, good health. Instrumental.
Yes, or it could be beauty.
Okay, beauty. And Sukhena is happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Save is he indeed.
Mm-hmm. He indeed, right?
Boga Paribyoho. So Boga is wealth, possession of wealth.
Right.
And Byoho is provided.
Say that one again. I didn't quite catch it.
Is it provided?
I'm not understanding.
Provided with wealth.
Is provided with wealth. Right. Right. Or having endowed with wealth. Good.
And Sage is heaven. Oh no, Petra is death, after death.
Yes. After death or having passed away. Good.
After death. Pamodati enjoys. The person singular.
Yes, he enjoys. He rejoices in Sage.
After death.
Right. So just read us now one more time, just the English translation, please.
Okay. And tasked with longevity, fame, health, and happiness, provided with wealth, he indeed enjoys in heaven after death.
Okay. Or he rejoices, having passed away, maybe we can say, he rejoices in heaven.
Okay.
And can you explain for us, please, this word pecha? What is that? How does that work?
Which word?
Pecha.
Oh, pecha, as you have given, is the breakdown pa plus the 80.
What does 80 mean?
I don't know.
Eti is a verb to go.
But to go, then Petra after past participle. So
it is a absolutive form of this verb eti. So eti is a different verb to go aside from gachati with this prefix pa, and then we can form a absolutive with it, with the ya. And then so we would get theoretically this petya, but this petya doesn't really stand in Pali, this combination of consonants. And so through assimilation, we get pecha. So having gone. It literally means having gone, but it has this specific sense of having died, or having passed away. And I put that this word peta is, it's the word for ghost, but this is unrelated, I guess, to our verse. Okay, thank you. So are there any questions about these readings, these verses so far? Anybody unsure or unclear about anything we've said so far?
Just one cosmological question, possibly. We have Sago for heaven and we had Akaso for the sky. Are they two different places, like the other way in English, the heavens are the sky, whereas...
Yeah. Well, Akasa, I'm looking quickly at Venerable Bodhi's translation of this, and he has moving through the sphere of space.
Sphere of space, okay.
So dhatu is a word, of course, can be translated a lot of ways, and he's using sphere of space, moving through the sphere of space. And I think this is just simply referring to the kind of mundane place we look at when we look up outside. But of course, Sagga is heaven, which is sort of a cosmic realm one could go to. It's different from just like where the rockets go.
Okay, great.
Okay.
That's it. Great. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Maybe it's Venerable Bodhi's translation of moving through the sphere of space, which let me have the idea that it could be instrumental. But as we said, it certainly could be locative. Okay, I think we've covered that well. Now we can move on to our third reading. And I've included a sort of prefix sentence. So this is from, and in fact, it can be found in two different places within the canon. One place would be in the Khuddha Nikaya, the Sutta Nipata, in the Mahavaggo, and then another place would be in the 92nd Sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, Sela Sutta. And so I have here this sentence, Tena kopana samayena kenyo jatilo sele brahmane abhipassano hoti. So who can explain for me quickly what this verb abhipassidati or abhipassano means? Vyakra, can you give us a quick explanation of the verb passidati and abhipassidati?
So I can't. I'm sorry.
We had passidati, I think, in the Pali Primer, so that's why I thought maybe somebody might know. Would anyone like to venture a solution?
Yeah, Brother Stephen, I think passidati is pleased with, right?
Yes.
Pleased with.
It pleased with, but it takes, that's true, but it takes on a sort of an additional, very important sense, which is to have confidence in and trust. And so the verb passidati has various senses, meanings, but in this kind of context, it has the meaning of confidence, trust. And so when it's prefixed with the abhi, which is intensifying it, it has the sense of full confidence. So tena kopana samayena, this is the instrumental of time, and a samaya is an occasion in the instrumental case. So at that time, and our subject is kenyo jatilo. So a jatila is what we in English translated as a matted hair ascetic. So this would be were a real thing, may perhaps even today, a group of people in India who were ascetics, that a big part of their practice would be to grow their hair into what, in at least in American English, we'd call dreadlocks, I think. Big matted locks of hair. And his name is Kenya. So he's always called Kenyo Jatilo, the Jatila Kenyo. And he has this complete confidence in the Brahman Sela. So that would be our locative, Sele Brahmane. Okay. So maybe I'll ask for a volunteer to read the first sentence and translate. Who would like to do that? Please raise your hand. Fiakra?
Great. So, great. So, Ata ko selo brahmana tihi manavakasatehi parivuto yena keniyasa jatilasa asamo ten upasankami.
Okay, so lots of different and interesting things happening here.
Yep.
In this sentence. So atako, of course, is then.
Then, yes.
And what's our subject of the sentence?
So that the subject of the sentence is going to be Selo. Is
right.
Is person Selo. Selo Brahmano, he's a Brahmin, yeah?
Selo Brahmano, right? He's the Brahmin Selo.
Yep.
And he's also, I noticed, I put in red on my screen, he has this past participle attached to him, parivuto. What does that mean?
So that means he's accompanied with, is that right?
Yeah, literally, this is not necessarily a better translation, but this verb and participle is put together with the verb, the prefix pari, plus this root vrit, which has the sense of turning around. This is what we see in the Dhammacakka Pavatana Sutta, the turning of the wheel. And so in a literal sense, it has the sense of, I think, surrounded by.
Surrounded by, okay.
But we don't have to use that, as your choice was perfectly fine. But just to give you a little more backstory about this.
Surrounded by, yeah?
Yeah, accompanied with, this is sort of like he has a retinue, we might say.
Retinue, yeah.
And tell me about Tihi Manavaka Satehi.
So that's 300 young men or young Brahmins.
So we have this interesting way of forming hundreds in Pali. And how does that work? And what case is this?
So I'm going with the instrumental of accompaniment.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Tihi is instrumental of the word, the number three.
Number three.
And of course we have Ehi, very recognizable.
Yeah.
But how does this 100 work? Where is the 100?
So that's the satehi at the end. So that would be the sato is 100. So it's satehi with 100. Is that right?
Yes. So in Pali, we have this very interesting way of writing numbers. So of course we would say 300 young men or something. But in Pali, it literally says 3 young men hundreds. So that's how we sort of do it in Pali. We could just get used to that. And then we have this kind of classic type of yena, tena construction. Tell me about that.
So I think what it means is like where, so literally it means like where the ashram of Kenio, the dreadlocked monk is, there they arrived. That's Yena is where, and then Tena is there. Is that's
yeah. So it's interesting to note that the upasamkami is, of course, the verb, arrived at, and notice that the arrived at is found in the nominative, right? Yep. Asamo is ashram, so this is the Pali version of that. Can you explain sort of etymologically asmo or ashram?
So yeah, so asamo or ashram, I believe it originally meant seat. Is that right? Or
No.
No, did
So,
I get that wrong?
so you're thinking of maybe asana,
Yes, sorry, I'm getting them confused. Yes.
but this is a negated form of this Sanskrit word shram, which has the meaning of to toil or exert or to
Okay.
work hard. And so it's negated and it's a noun. So in a literal sense, it would be a place without toil, a place without exertion, sort of like maybe like a resort.
Okay, yeah.
But not like a resort in Switzerland. I think it's more like a spiritual resort, a place where one can be safe to practice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay, yeah.
ashram or an asang.
Asam,
And what case is keniyasa jatilasa?
I was translating that as genitive.
Right. It's the possessive. So it's the asama of the matted hair ascetic Kenya. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Maybe we could have, is it Branco? Did I pronounce your name right?
Yes.
Would you please then, you could read off this whole big next sentence and we'll talk about it.
Starting with Adassa.
Yes,
Adassa ko selo brahmano Kenya samye jatile, ape kache udhanani kanante, ape kache kathani palente, ape kache bhajanani dhovante, ape kache udaka manikan pathapente, ape kache asanani panyapente, Kenyam pana jatilam, samanyeva mandalamalam Patya Denton.
Right.
Big one.
So, yeah, that's a big one. So I guess the first thing to say, and the thing I've been afraid to even talk about, is the aorist tense of verbs, which is a huge subject. It's introduced in this chapter of the book. For some people, it will be a new subject. For others, it would be something we know all about. But in a very quick way of saying it, because I don't want to dwell too much on the grammar as an abstract subject, but what we call the aorist or the aorist tense of a verb is what we might call the simple past tense. In Pali, we have fewer past tenses than in many languages, including English and the Romance languages and Sanskrit. And what's a little bit scary, but shouldn't be too scary about aorist, is that it can be formed in a lot of different ways. I think there are 4 distinct ways that the aorist tense is formed. But the good news is that as translators and not really speakers, we don't really have to worry about making these formations. We really could focus more on recognizing them. I don't have to worry about which verb takes which kind of aorist. But we'd have to learn a bit about it. And so in this case, in this verb, adasa, we have, actually it's a theoretical verb, which we can say is dasati. If you look it up in the Pali English dictionary, you'll see that this verb has a sort of asterisk or a star next to it, which tells us that this verb is not really a real life verb because, as I'm sure most of you know, in Pali, the verb to see is used pasati. So dasati is not really used as a present indicative. It is used in various forms like disva or disvana, having seen. And one of the ways of forming the aorist is to prefix the verb with the letter short a. And this is called the aorist or the a aorist. And so adasa is one of those, and it is describing Selo Brahmano. So please, Branko, can you give me some translation now? Sorry about this big interruption.
No problem. I'm trying to figure out the sentence. So Adasa, so he saw.
Exactly. He saw. Now tell me, please, a little bit about this very interesting and slightly complicated two words, kenis samie jatile.
Jatile is, as we said, is long hair ascetics.
Yes, and what? Tell me a bit about kenis samie.
No, but isn't it Kenya Samia or Kenny Samia?
Kenis samie. I don't know. Kenis samie.
Kenny Samia. I thought that it's Kenya.
Yeah, it is.
But,
I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah, but in the text there was not YA, so this is what I added. Kenya Samia. Yeah, okay.
It's complicated. Let me break it down a little bit. So this word is actually has three pieces. The first piece is Kenya.
Kenya, the other is ashram.
The second one is asamo or asama. And then we have this iya suffix, which makes it sort of an adjective.
So the ascetics from the Kenya's ashram, actually.
Yes, but it's locative. So we can translate it as so the Brahmin, Sela, saw in Kenya the matted hair ascetics ashram.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that now?
Yeah, I thought that he saw the ascetics, but he saw the in the ashram
of Kenya the ascetic. So translating this one more time into English, it would be something like Sela, the Brahmin, or the Brahmin Sela, saw, and now we have our locatives, in the ashram of Kenya, the matted hair ascetic. Do you see that?
I don't know. I was confused that jatile is a locative because if you see something that it should be accusative.
But he's seeing in this ashram, and what he's seeing is about to be described. He saw this. And so where did he see it? He saw it in the ashram. Which ashram? The ashram of Kenya Jatila.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just a sentence fragment, right? This is not a whole sentence. So far we only have the Brahmin Sela saw in the ashram of Kenya the matted hair ascetic.
Just a second, one more second about this. Isn't it that jatile is plural accusative? So in the Kenya's ashram, he saw ascetics. So it could be accusative, no?
No, because I'm taking jatile as adjectival, as an adjective to Kenya.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm looking at the table for jatilo, and it says accusative plural is jatile.
It could be.
Yeah.
It
so
could
I don't
be.
know. Okay.
But I think it's
because
I
of
take
that.
I take it as one big locative.
Because of the continuation of the sentence, because it's an appekache. So he saw these ascetics, and some of them were digging far places. Some of them were this and that. So because of that, I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I would take it more like he saw in this place some, but I don't know. I
but
could
then
be
we
wrong.
but then if we have appekache, then you don't have subjects because who is doing this? I don't know. Okay, anyway, appekache means some.
He saw some, right?
Some. So udanani kanante. Kanante is a verb digging, plural.
What kind
third
of
person? Third person plural.
I think it's present participle.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Digging. Udanani. That's accusative plural. Fireplaces or something like that.
Or ovens, perhaps.
Yeah.
So what did he see? He saw some digging. So that's the present participle accusative.
Yes.
Digging ovens.
ovens.
And then
Katani palente, it's chopping wood. Or again, present participant, plural, accusative. Then apekache bhajanani dhovante, so it's again present participle, washing, and bhajanani are dishes. So some of them were digging ovens, the other were chopping woods, the third ones were washing dishes. Then apekache udamanikam pathapente, they were setting up the vessels with the water, the big
good.
jars with the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then apekache asanani panyapente, asana, it's a place where we are sit. So panyapente, again, present participle, were preparing or arranging, probably seating mats or something like that.
Right. So this is the word we have to be careful not to confuse with asana. This is asana.
Asana.
Right.
And then Kenyan pana jatilam samam yeva. So Kenyan pana jatilam samam. So Jatila or ascetic Kenya, however, himself samam yeva mandala malam patya dentam. So patya dentam, it's again present participle. He was preparing, and mandala is mandala mala. It's a circular pavilion. So mala is circular, probably like a necklace or mala.
I think it just means like a circle.
Circle, yeah. Then mandala is pavilion. So circular pavilion.
Good. Well, that's quite a big sentence. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've put here the present indicative in my sheet of these verbs, where these present participles come from. And notice that pati tapeti comes from that root da or ta, which we have titati. And then panyapeti, is a causative form of pajanati. And so that would be to point out, to declare, to cause to know. Of course, literally, the causative, it would be to cause to know. But if you cause something to be known, you point it out, you declare it. We have a common word that's based on, which is panyati, which is a designation. So I'll just read, if I just pulled up Venerable Bodhi's translation of this, just so we're all together on the same page. Then he saw some Jatilas of Kenya's hermitage digging out ovens, some chopping wood, some washing dishes, some setting out water jugs, some preparing seats, and the Jatila Kenya himself setting up a pavilion. Good. Sarah, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I had a quick question, but I think you reading Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation eliminated this. But could you read the sentence one more time at the beginning? Because I was going along, I've forgotten your name, but I'm going along with accusative plural. I was going to put a vote in for accusative plural for Jatile. But I think...
I'll read it one more time.
Yeah.
Then he saw some Jatilas of Kenya's hermitage digging out ovens.
Yeah, I see. It's a little bit questionable in a way, though, because you could look at Jatile as accusative plural, and then the adjective Kenya Asamie, accusative plural, you would say the aesthetics belonging to the monastery. And I only bring this up because it's fun, not because it's important.
That's how I understood
it. Just a thought. I'm putting a vote in with that. So
okay, I'm not sure. I have to admit, it seemed to me to be locative, because this is what he saw in the monastery, in the ashram. He saw some people doing this and some people doing that, but perhaps it's not clear. Maybe I need to do more research. But Sarah, since your hand is up, can you then read for us the next sentence? Sarah?
Yep, sorry about
Okay.
that. I was on mute. Disvana, that's where we are, right? Disvana, Kenyang Jatilang Itadavocha. Kinuko Boto Kenyasa Avahova Bavisati. Vivahova Bavisati. Mahayanyova Pachupatito. Rajava Magado Senio Bimbasaro Nimantito Svatanaya Sading Balakan Kayenati. Sorry
Right.
for my pronunciation.
That's
Okay,
okay.
so we have Disvana is the absolutive of pasati.
Right. There's
Or
that dusity
dusity.
thing. Right.
Yeah. And then Kenyang Jatilang is in the accusative plural.
Mm-hmm.
Eta avocha is that common aorist form of vachiti.
Right. So that's the A augment.
The A augment.
Avocha.
So having seen Kenya the ascetic, he said this, and then Kinuko is going to kind of be like a, is it not, or kind of bringing up a question.
Right.
Boto Venerable Sir is from Bhavant, so it's the genitive dative. Kinyasa is the genitive dative. Avaho, I don't really understand the differentiation, but Avaho is a wedding and Viaho is another type of wedding. So maybe a wedding to do with some types of people, and I don't know, somebody could probably explain that to me. But
Isn't
for
it
now,
first engagement and the other is wedding?
I think it has to do with the giving of the bride. Of course, in the old days, the bride was sort of had not so much power. And so the bride was sort of given. And then later, maybe right away, there was an actual wedding. I think that this is what this is implying. Avaho and vivaho.
okay, so
I translated as engagement.
Yeah, it could be like an engagement, but engagement seems to be a little modernistic for what's really happening.
Right. Yeah.
So but I didn't quite catch, what is bhavisati?
Well, that's the future form of bhavati. So he's asking, will there be an engagement party, we'll call it, for Venerable Kenya, or will there be, because we have it twice, bhavisita, and we've got the va for or,
right?
A marriage.
Okay, good.
Or va, will there be a great Mahayanyo, a big almsgiving or sacrifice? Sacrifice, okay. That's in the nominative singular. Pachupatito comes from pachupatiti, kind of presented.
What kind of form is that?
It's the past participle.
Right.
It's in the nominative singular. And then we have Magado, Senio, Bimbasaro is all nominative singular.
How about Raja?
Raja is also the nominative singular.
Yeah, so how would we translate all that? Raja, Magado, Senio, Bimbisaro.
Or he's saying, or a great almsgiving is presented, or is the king of Magadha, Senio Bimbasara, and then we've got invited, right?
That's all right. That's a past participle.
Nimantito comes from nimanteti, to be invited. That's past participle, as you said. And svatanaya is for tomorrow in the dative.
Yes.
With sading, balakayena. So we've got the instrumental singular that goes with sading, and that's balakayo, which is an army. So, and I think that's a great body, right? Or a strong body, maybe?
Yeah, balakena is the army, but in a literal sense, it means something like a body of strength.
Okay.
A body of power, bala.
Okay,
right.
So is he invited?
I'm sorry, could you give me one more time the whole sentence translated?
Okay, so I have, having seen Kenya the ascetic, he said this. Indeed, or really he asked it, but he stated it. Okay, never mind. He said it. Indeed, will there be a wedding for Venerable Kenya, or will there be a marriage, or a great almsgiving, or sacrifice? excuse me, I'll change that to sacrifice, or a great sacrifice presented? Or is the king of Magadha, Senia Bimbisara, invited for tomorrow with his army?
Right. Yeah, I would definitely take yanyo as a sacrifice, not a almsgiving. I mean, of course, it is in a sense, a type of almsgiving, but what it is a sacrifice.
Right there, it's a sacrifice. Okay.
Right. Good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Diane, could you then read our next sentence?
Name bosela avaho bavisati napi vivaho bavisati napi raja magado senio bimbisaro nimantito svatanaya sadin balakayena.
Avaho. So
Avaho.
Yeah, balakayena.
Balakayena. So Nemebo Sela, not for me, venerable or honorable Selo, will there be Bavisati? And I've got a bride bringing.
Well, it's kind of what I was saying earlier. The idea of the bride is presented by the bride's, I guess, parents.
Nor nor will there be a bride sending, a bride bringing or a bride sending.
Or a wedding.
Or a wedding. Nor will there be not be Raja, the king of Magadha, the Senio Bimbisara, being invited for the next day along with his army.
Okay, good. Right. So notice here this enclitic may. Tell us about that, Diane. This sort of passive construction.
Well, it means me.
But what case? It has a sense of a case. It goes with bavisati.
Not for me will there be.
Yeah, literally it has the sense of there will not be for me. Right, sort of a dative quality to it.
Yes.
Is it also maybe instrumental or?
By me? It could be. Yeah, there is not by me. There will not be for me. Yeah, dative, possibly instrumental. Right, and notice this interesting word bo, which in the prior we had in the genitive, dative, boto, a very hard word, in fact, to translate into English because however we seem to translate it, it seems awkward. It's a type of respect, a title of respect, translated variously as Mr., Sir, Master, things like that. And what it is, one of the things that it is when we see this word, it's a type of address given to someone who's not considered to be in the Buddha group, in a sense. And so what's interesting, it seems to be a word that Brahmins use to address one another. And so what's interesting is that when we see people address the Buddha himself with bo, they are not sort of part of the Sangha. They haven't taken refuge in the Buddha. They address him in a respectful way, but it is not the way that, for instance, a Buddhist monk would address the Buddha. And so it seems to be a somewhat Brahminical mode of address, very hard to sort of capture in a natural sense into English. Let me see what Venerable Bodhi has. He has master. I will not be holding a marriage or giving in marriage Master Sela. Nor has King Senia Bimbisara of Magadha been invited with his troops for tomorrow's meal. And then, okay, we can go on. We have another sentence. Would somebody like to raise their hand for this sentence? How about Florence? I don't think we've heard from Florence. Can you do the next sentence for us? You're up to,
Apichako.
yeah,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. Apichako me Mahayano Pachu Patito Ati.
Mm-hmm. So,
And okay. Apicha is but rather to me. Mahayano is great sacrifice is presented there.
yeah,
There is okay. There is but rather to me there's a great sacrifice is present.
right. So apicha, we can maybe translate it something like but rather, instead, apikacho, and then me, maybe instrumental, by me, atti, there is a great sacrifice prepared. Good. Would you like to read for us the next sentence, Florence?
Okay, I try. Samano Gautama Sakyaputo Sakyakula Papachito Angutarapesu Chalikan Seramano
Charamano.
oh,
Charikam charamano.
Charikan Charamano Mahata Piku Sangena
Sudding.
Sati.
Good. So can I hear your translation of that?
Okay, by oneself.
Well, what's the subject here? What is the subject of the sentence? What is the nominative?
Gautama?
That's part of it.
Sakyakula.
No. Would somebody like to chime in and help?
Samano Gautama Sakyaputo.
Yes, the subject is Samano Gautama Sakyaputo. He's described as Gautama, the ascetic Gautama, son of the Sakyans. So you notice that all three of those words end in O, nominative singular. He's also described, matching in this participle, pabajito, having renounced, that's past participle, and Sakyakula. So what case is that?
Sakyakula?
Ablative?
Yeah, what case is it?
Ablative.
From the Sakyan family. Right. Now, maybe I see Fiakra is here. Can you then translate Anguttara Pesu Charikam Charamano?
Yeah. One moment. Sorry. Yes. Sorry, I didn't. So Anguttara Peso. So that's a place name. Charikam Charamano. He's going on the almsgiving pilgrimage. Mahata.
Well, hang on. So notice that Charamano is matching with all these other nominatives. So this is him.
Oh yes.
And what is the name of this
present participle?
It's that mana type of present participle. So he's walking. Charity is the verb, and what is he walking? The noun. A walking tour. Charikang. So literally, it says he's walking a walking tour.
Mm-hmm.
Anguttara Pesu. What case is that?
That is so that's going to be a locative.
Right. So among the Anguttarapans, perhaps.
Okay.
And then we have Mahata Bhikkhu Sangena Sading. How would you translate that?
So with the great assembly of bhikkhus.
Right, with a large or great sangha or assembly of monks. Right, thank you. And then we have apanang anupato. How would you translate that?
So apanang anupato. Hold on, I'm going to actually check what I put in for that. So
It's a
so
past
apanang is
participle.
another place.
Yes.
Yeah, so anupatong, having arrived at Apanang, is that
right? So
is that
notice that
right?
anupato is matching again in this nominative. So it's referring back again to Gotamo. So he has arrived at Apana, right? Apana in the accusative. And then we have, now who's speaking in the next sentence?
Who's speaking in the next sentence?
Who's speaking?
Sela.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have so me niman tito svatanaya batang sading biku sangena.
Yep.
So he, that's the so, nimantito, invited, by me,
yeah.
and then svatanaya, batang, so that's, svatanaya would be our date for the following day or for tomorrow's meal, batang, sading biku sangena, together with the sangha of monastics, with the group of monks, with his group of monks, really. And then so the question comes, Budoti bo Kenya vadesi? So Buddha, honorable Kenya, you say, you said? So vadesi is what, Vyakra?
Vadesi is just a present second person singular.
No, I think it would be an aorist.
Vadesi, oh, is it so?
You said Buddha, Master Kenya, you said Buddha? And I say Buddha, Sela, right?
Okay.
Budoti boto Sela, Vadami, that would be present. I say Buddha, Master Sela. And then, of course, it's repeated again. Like he can't believe it. Budoti bo Kenya vadesi? You said Buddha, Master Kenya? I say Buddha, Master Sela. And then finally the last sentence, Gosapiko eso dulabbo lokasming yadidang budoti. So the word goso, which is, and it's going with eso, which is that very close pointing word, this. It means this. And goso is a word. It also could be a sound. We have this, of course, famously with Buddha Gosa or Ashva Gosha. This sound or this word, and it's being described as dulabo, hard to find.
Hard to find, yeah.
Or rare. Lo kasming, locative, in the world. This word is hard to find in the world. Namely, yadidang, or that is to say, Buddha, Budoti.
Great. Sorry, I'm still fixated on this. Vadesi is, you say, is aorist, is that?
I thought so.
Okay, because I just saw in the vocabulary that they have it as vadati, and then I just put it on.
Take a look in the dictionary under vadati and see if an aorist is listed as vadeti.
Oh, okay. So is vadati is the root, is that right?
Yeah. Vadati would be present indicative.
Okay.
That's we talked about how we have vad and vach, right? Yes. A vach is an avocha, but here we have vad, and vadati is the present indicative. So if this is, of course, second person. Vadasi would seem to be the second person present indicative. But when we have vadesi, I think it would be the aorist. You said. Okay. I think we're done for today. That's certainly lots of grammar. Are there any final questions about anything we've covered in this class? Sarah?
Yes, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Stephen, but I can't figure out I'd like to make an offering for your amazing teaching. And when I click, I just get an email. I don't see a link to a way to donate money to you. So can you help us out?
I'm really not so skilled in all this stuff, but
yeah.
The only way I can normally receive money is through PayPal.
And how do we link to your PayPal account?
Well, I guess you would have to go to PayPal and put the email address I've given.
I see.
As the person you wish to send to, but we can talk about that later too. If
you want. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I've just been trying to do this for a little while.
If there are any questions about Pali, I can take them now. Linda, you have a Pali question? Linda, you'll need to unmute.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you for the teachings, first of all. Stephen, I'm just wondering if I can get the notes from your screen. Like I know you used to share them with us.
If I've sent them out, I've sent it out to people who have contacted me about this class, I think. If you've sent me an email, I will send it back to you.
Right, thank you. I actually just sent you an email this morning, I think a couple of hours before the session. That's why.
I'm sorry, I probably haven't looked, but I will find it and send this to you, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, thank you all, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you next week for the remainder of this lesson, initial, and of course we can hopefully go on to the further readings. So please prepare as much as you can the readings. And remember, if this class has seemed obscure to you, if you don't really know what we're talking about in this class, then the class for you is the class that was given this summer. And please go to those recordings, which covers lessons 1 through 5, and you will hopefully be able to catch up. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you all next week. Bye now.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.